So today's review for summative 8. Oh, it says 8 over here. It is 8, not 9. I don't know why it says 9 right there. It's 8, okay? It's definitely not 9. We are not having a summative 9. Okay. There are 6 sections on the quiz, and we will review them, I think, in the order that they are in the quiz. But there are 2 sections on arithmetic, one on just coming up with like the formula or finding a term. And then there's one later in the quiz that is on finding the sums of arithmetic sequences and an application problem, okay? And the same with geometric. There's one that's more on basics, and then there's one that's on finding geometric sums of series. Then there are 2 additional sections. One is on parametrics and projectile motion, which was not difficult, but it's been like 2 weeks today, so we need to definitely review that. And then the other section is binomial probability, and that is a retake, and that had expected value on it. And that's that extra worksheet that you have. So let's get started. If I can get my cursor working. All right, so this is the 10.2a, which is basic arithmetic sequences. I'm not sure how basic it is. Maybe we start with number 2 and then we'll revisit number 1. Write the explicit and recursive formula for the arithmetic sequence. Can anybody tell what this one's doing? Remember, if we're told it's arithmetic, we can take any term and subtract the one before it. If we just look right here, 5.5 minus 1.5, wouldn't the difference be 4? Would that work here as well? Negative 6.5 plus 4 would be negative 2.5, okay? So if the difference is 4, can anybody tell me either of these? This is the one on your reference sheet for arithmetic, and this is the one that we like to tell your 5th grade sister, but it's not on the reference sheet. Okay, if you were describing this to your 5th grade sister, what would you say? We started with negative 6.5, so we write that as a sub 1 equals negative 6.5. And then we kept doing what? Adding 4. How do we write? And then we added 4 to the previous term. A sub n equals the previous term plus 4. You have to know that that means recursive, that's what it's looking for. Okay, not on the reference sheet. Questions? All right, explicit is on the reference sheet, and it looks like this with the D at the back. That's not the way we usually did them in class. So for this one, you could put in negative 6.5 plus the 4 is the difference, and minus 1 times. And you do not have to simplify on the quiz. It's fine with me if you just leave it, okay? Any questions? So I just moved the D to the front because it makes more sense. Oh, I almost skipped number 1. We got to go back up here to example 1. In an arithmetic sequence, what is the difference if a sub 1 is negative 20 and a sub 23 is 57? Ideas on how to do that one? We can use this formula. I'm going to write a little sentence in words here. The 23rd term is the first term. Oh, first term. Plus the difference, how many times? To get to the 23rd term, how many times did we add a difference? 23 minus 1, or 22 times. So What am I going to put in for a, so if we wrote that here, it would be a sub 23 equals a sub 1 plus the difference 23 minus 1 times. Okay, all that is just theory. Can you put in actual numbers here? What's the 23rd term? $57 equals the first term, which was negative 20, plus the difference that we don't know, 22 times. So how would we solve that? Yep, if we add 20 over here, we get 77. And then if we divide by 22, we get 7/2 or 3.5, I think. And that's all it asked for. Either one would be fine, as long as it's exact. Questions? Okay, for more practice on, this is not the only questions, obviously, on that section of the quiz, but because you should have already done all of this, I only put a couple on here, like the ones I was most worried about. Does that make sense? Okay. Then there's a section called 10.3a, which has geometric sequences. You know, when you see that line on the quiz, make sure in your head you switch thought patterns, like that this is geometric, okay? Read in the little box what it says. It'll say geometric sequence. All right, so this time they're multiplying by something. It says find the first 5 terms. Oh, can we find the first 5 terms? What's the first term, guys? It says the first term is 10. And then how do we get to the next term? Multiply by 3/2, which I believe will give me 15. And then times 3/2 or 1.5 again, which will give me 22.5. How did I do so far? Yeah, now I don't know. 33.75? Oh, lucky guess. I give up. This one isn't going to be pretty, is it? Okay, so this last one is 50.625, and you don't want to round. You could change them to fractions. They might be easier to write as fractions, but it doesn't matter, as long as they're exact. All right, find the exact value of the 8th term. How would you do that? In my mind, I'd just jump down to this question. Can we write the explicit formula? What does that look like on your reference sheet? Is that what it looks like for geometric? Doesn't have parentheses, but Hofbauer always puts parentheses. So how would that look for this particular sequence? Anybody? What are we going to start with? 10, and then R is 3/2, n minus 1. So to go back here to the 8th term, we just need to put in what? N equals 8. So 10 times 3/2 to the 8 minus 1, or to the 7th. I think I'm going to change that one to a fraction. 10/935 over 64. You could have written out the whole decimal. I would have taken it. It did say exact, though. Everybody good? All right, what about recursive? Again, this one's not on your sheet. This is the 5th grade sister one. How to explain to a 5th grader how we got these numbers. 2 parts. A sub 1 was 10, and A sub, whoops, I didn't write a very good subscript. A sub n, should be a little subscript down there, equals A sub n minus 1, and then you tell them, what were we doing on this one? Multiplying by 3/2 or 1.5. And it doesn't, you can put the a sub 1 at the end, but you got to have those two parts there. Any questions? All right. This one is got a typo on your worksheet. Can you make the bottom number here say 625? I think, did I put 626 on yours accidentally? All right. So this is still part of that same part of the quiz. It says in a geometric sequence, what is R if we know U sub 1 and U sub 6? So you could draw 5 blanks in the middle, but you really don't need to find all those terms. What could I just do with this formula, guys? I could say the 6th term is the first term times R 6 minus 1 times, right? So what is the 6th term? Lovely, 4096 over 625 equals, are we trying to find the first term or we know the first term? We know the first term is negative 20, but then it's times R to the, be careful, 6 minus 1 or 5th. All right. How do we need to work backwards to find R? Negative 20 out of the 5th, what do you have to do first to get the R by itself? It was times, so we need to divide by negative 20. All right, so this is not going to be pretty. Parenthesis, was it 4096? Do I remember right? Divided by, whoops, divided by 625. And now I'm dividing that by negative 20. I don't think you need those parentheses. Not positive, though.
It was 626 instead of 625.
It's wrong on the worksheet. There was a typo here. Okay, make it 625. Otherwise, it comes out really nasty when we take the 5th root. Thank you for fixing me, as always, though. All right, where was my calculator? If I do a math, enter. Anybody else get that? You can write down the decimal or this, but what do we need to do if that's R to the 5th? We can take the 5th root or to the 1/5 power. If you prefer the 5th root, it's under math. Now, it is a negative number, but it's actually going to work. I'm going to just call it the last answer here. I got negative 4/5. If I had put this, let's see, I would have needed parentheses around it to do to the 1/5, I think, unless I just called it answer. What is happening there? Okay. Which is also negative 0.8. Did anybody's calculator give them a decimal? So R is either negative 0.8 or negative 4/5. What was that number? Oh, here, I can just put it on the screen. How we got that. There we go. Let's see, I can just drag this on here for notes. Everybody okay? Now, notice those numbers are ugly. There's a reason they're probably kind of ugly on the quiz too. It's because I don't want to make it so that you can just guess, oh, I think they're multiplying by 2. Yep, they were. I'm done. I want you to actually have to do some thinking about how we could work backwards, not just guess. All right, what about this guy? Again, to find the 6th term, what did they do? A sub 6, we're still geometric, would have been a sub 1 times R to the 6 minus 1 So what numbers can I put in here? 1/8. They used U instead of A, but we don't know the first term. That's what we're trying to find, yes? Times 4 to the 6 minus 1, or fifth. So we could divide all at once. We could just take 1/8 divided by 4 to the 5th. Or if it makes you feel better, we could do 4 to the 5th first. This is going to be a really small decimal, I think. Stop. What's happening? I just want to be clear. Okay, what am I supposed to be doing? I already forgot. 4 to the 5th. Oh, that's not. It's no wonder the videos turn out long. Hofbauer can't type. Okay, I got a 1024, but then it was negative 1/8 divided by 1024. Oh, it was positive 1/8. Thank you. I don't know where I got a negative. Yeah. Math, enter. Please make a fraction. Oh, gross. 1/8192, anyone? So we did 1/8 divided by 4 to the 5th. And we got a crazy decimal, which became 1/8192. Okay, I don't know that they're all disgusting on the quiz, but good practice to do some. Okay. I should have rearranged the quiz, but this is the order the quiz is in. Now we are going to jump back to arithmetic. So when you see that line on the quiz, you got to reorientate your brain. We're talking about arithmetic again, okay? And this time we're going to use the sum formula at some point, which for arithmetic is this one. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean they all have that, but that's the idea for this section. It says find the exact sum of the first 10 terms of this sequence. Now, because it's geometric, what do we have to figure out? We have to find the R value. What are they multiplying by, guys? Did I mess this up? All of this is, it says arithmetic. I wrote the arithmetic, and all of a sudden my brain is doing geometric. I should fix the video. That was bad. Okay, that's supposed to be an A. So it is arithmetic. I'm thinking they're subtracting 30, yes? Someone fix me. Retirement brain has set in. All right. But in order to find the sum of the first 10 terms, do you remember how this goes? We have to know what? To find the sum of 10 terms, we do 10 divided by 2 times a sub 1 plus a sub 10. Do we know a sub 10 yet? And you could find it just on your calculator by keep subtracting 30. But otherwise, to find the 10th term, you would take the first term minus 30, 10 minus 1 times. So that would be 9 times, would be 270, 20 minus 270. Is it negative 250? Someone check. $20 minus 30 times 9. Okay, so be careful. Whoops, was that your foot? Did I kick you? I'm sorry. Find the exact sum. So now we got to switch over to the sum. And remember, the n up here is the term number. Since we're finding 10 terms, it is a 10. So we have 10 over 2, the first term plus the last term. I'm thinking negative 1,000 something. This would be negative 230 times 5. Negative 1150. Really? That was a guess. Okay. How you feeling? All right. Then we have, oh, that was the only example on that. Then it switches. There's more than one question on the quiz, but it does switch. By the way, remember, this is where to find more practice on those because it is definitely not just one question on the quiz. Make sure you have done all of this and you should be fine. And then we switch to geometric, and this is where to find all of that. It says find the exact sum of the first 6 terms of the geometric sequence with a sub 1 equal to 10 and r equal to negative 1/4. This is not complicated. It is just using a formula, but I can guarantee a whole bunch of people are going to get it wrong because what? Does anybody remember what's weird about this formula? Whoops, it's a geometric sum or series from the formula sheet. There's 2 different ways you can do it. The one I used was this. But do you remember what the trickiness is? Especially important when it's a fraction and or a negative. Remember that? Okay, so very carefully we're going to put in 10 times 1 minus, that's a minus, and then this is a negative 1/4 to the what power? Sum of the first 6 terms, it is to the 6th, it's not to the 6 minus 1. We're doing sum of 6. Okay, and then we're going to divide by 1 minus, woo, not that. 1 minus what? R again, and that's negative 1/4. And you could put it in parentheses again, or you could make it a plus positive. Because it's a fraction, I'd probably put in parentheses. That one you can make a plus positive. The top one you cannot because of the exponent. Just type it just like this and get it right, okay? 10 times 1 minus negative 1/4 to the 6th. Arrow to the right, close that parenthesis, then divide by the bottom parenthesis. 1 minus negative 1/4. Those of you who aren't typing are scaring me. Oh, gross. Did anybody else get that? No, at least it changes back to a fraction. I think I made sure that it would change back to a fraction on the quiz. If it doesn't, you can just write out all the decimal places, but that would make me nervous that you did something wrong. So double check, because I think it will. 4095 over 512. I should put that whole thing on the screen though, so that if you're not getting that, you can see exactly how I typed it. Come on. Questions? All right, also in that section, there is a word problem, and it makes me very nervous, so I have put a highlighter up here that says, please pay close attention to this one. A colony of mold grows at a rate of 3.5% per day. If there were 1,200 mold spores on day 1, so it's telling you to count that as term 1, okay? About how many mold spores will there be on day 12? So we want to find term 12. This is not a sum question, okay? It's just an arithmetic sequence, geometric, we're multiplying. My brain is not cooperating today. How do we do this? Why am I worried about this question? How do you put a rate in here? It's growing, so it's all plus 3.5%, which is 103.5%, which is what is a decimal? 1.035. All right, so we had 1200, 1.035, and then I also worry that someone's just going to put to the 12th up here. It should be 12 minus 1 or 11. Okay, you should be able to type that one without me helping. 1200, 1.035 to the 11th. And it said about, so I'm just getting around to the nearest whole number. Somebody get that? Anybody need help? Sorry, my card is in the way. Better? Questions? All right, then we get to parametrics. All right, parametrics, you need to put your calculator, go to mode. For the projectile motion question, we're going to need to be in degrees, so you can do the whole quiz in degrees. But for this particular question, you need to be in parametric mode, or for this set of questions, if you're going to use your calculator. Everybody good? Parametric in degrees? All right, before we go any further, this is a projectile motion one. The formula for this is on the reference sheet, I think. Is it somewhere on there? It says projectile motion. Okay, and we did degrees and parametric mode. Okay, so the thing people forget generally is the t. So I would just put it front. There's a t, and then it's times the cosine. Nope, it's times two things. So let's put the other one first. I don't think did I put it on here? No, I wish I had. Okay, on your sheet it says x of t equals t v sub 0 cosine of theta, and y of t equals negative 16 t squared plus t v sub 0 sine of theta plus h sub 0. Did I get it right? Okay, so we're going to have what initial velocity, guys? 100 feet per second. This is your v sub 0. 30 degrees is your theta. Initial height is your h sub 0. So this would be t times 100 times the cosine of 50. And then y is going to be negative 16t squared plus t times 100 sine of 50 plus 2. Okay, before we even start, help me think about the window. What makes sense for values of t for this question? T is time. So do we need negative numbers? Nope. And how long do you think it's going to take a baseball to come down? 5 seconds? Yeah, it's probably less, but that sounds good to me. All right. X is distance away. Again, we don't need negative. It says, what is the ball's height when it's 300 feet away? So that's a clue to me that we might have to go out to like 350 or 400. How high up do you think a ball goes? says, will it clear a fence 10 feet tall? But I'm thinking it might go higher than that. Should we put like 50? Okay, let's try that. So it was 100 and T 100 cosine of, what was the angle again, guys? 50, thank you. Don't forget those t's, that's the biggest thing. Negative 16t squared plus t 100 sine of 50. The y one gets the sine, the x one gets cosine, and then it had a plus 2. All right, so go to window. We said 0 to 5. Your t-step should be 0.1. And then I think I originally said 350. And did we say 50 for the height? Let's just see if that's close. Whoa, the 350 is okay. The time, it does come back down. But the Y max needs to be more. I'm gonna try like 120 just so it doesn't go off the top. Okay. So I did change the window a little bit. I got a picture like this. The window that I changed to this. Okay. The window, you just want to make sure that the fits on the screen, but you also want to make sure the ball doesn't stop in midair. What if it just stops in the middle of nowhere? Then you didn't put enough time, okay? You need a little more T. How high is it when the ball's 300 feet away? So now we need to trace as best we can and tell what's 300. There's only one thing going to get to 300, and that is the X value. So when this gets 300 feet away, or as close as we can get, okay, I got 302 at 4.7 seconds. If I wanted to get a little better answer, I could try like 4.68 seconds to just, that's pretty close. Oh, this is ridiculously close. 4.67. Isn't it a 10-foot wall? 4.67. I don't think I made it this hard on the quiz, I promise. But that's about as close to 300 feet as I can get, and it's just over 10 feet up. So it's going to clear the wall, but barely. If you were just doing this, 4.6 and 4.7, be pretty hard to tell if it's going to clear the wall, right? I think on the quiz I did a little bit better than that. Oh, now someone remind me so I can put it on the screen. What was it, 4.67 or even 6.6? Was that better? About the same? 4.67. All right, I'll put that one on the screen to show that at 300 feet it was, what did we say? 10 point something, 10.8? I'm gonna go with yes, clears the fence. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Clears, woo, I don't know what that says. Okay, I don't think I made it that difficult on the quiz that you had to, you know, do little hundredths of a second. All right, this is the one I'm a little worried about. Actually, I'm also worried about the graphing, but I don't think I put one on here, did I? Do we have time? Let's graph this one real quick. Remember, when you go to graph it, it's going to matter what they tell you to use for T. Do you remember this business? If I told you to graph this, and I will give you one that you have to graph, I just didn't put one on here because you have practice on this. But when you go to put it in, can anybody tell me what it said? X was 2t minus 6. And y was t squared plus 5, okay? But the important thing for this is that it has endpoints. Do you remember what you have to put in for the window there? You can't randomly pick your window. You have to do whatever it tells you in the question. So this one said from -2 to 3. So you would put here -2 to 3. I just added that. It didn't have that. And then most likely you would just have graph paper that was like -10 to 10 and -10 to 10. Now I have no idea if this example is even going to fit on that graph paper. This one should be -10 and this one should be +10. All right, let me see if it works. Yeah, no. If you go to the table though, it would tell you the points. What were they, guys? -2 to, what did I do? Actually, it does fit on the graph paper, maybe. -2 to +3. It actually barely fits on the graph paper. The endpoints are at -10, 9 and 0, 14, which doesn't fit on the graph paper, sorry. Endpoints. When t is -2 and when t was 3. I don't remember if it asked for endpoints on the quiz. Let me just put this on the screen. -10, 9, and at 3 it was 0, 14. And this is kind of what my graph looked like, badly done. It was a piece of a parabola anyway. All right, but back to this question. By the way, one more time, parametrics, oh, it doesn't even say what worksheet it is. Grr, it's on your homework check, okay, to tell you where more practice is on that. But how do we eliminate the t? It says put y equals, so what would we do to this so that we can substitute in here and have no more t? Do you remember this? What do we have to do there? To get the t by itself, what would that say? X plus 6 equals 2t, and then divide by 2, and I would just leave it. So I have x plus 6 over 2, and that's going to go in here. So there's no more t. I would not try to mess around and simplify that because you could make an algebraic mistake and it's not worth it, okay? I don't know that that's that messy on the quiz, but. Okay, parametrics were the end of the trig packet. I got to keep going because we still have to talk about binomial probability. Can you find the Moore 11.2 worksheet? Okay, binomial probability had a formula, but on your reference sheet, okay, binom PDF is what we're going to use. And on your reference sheet somewhere is this. Everybody find it on the reference sheet? It says binomial probability, and it gives you a formula, but it also tells you where the menu is. Yes? Okay. I'm telling you for this quiz, do not try to use binom CDF unless you're super confident, because everybody got that wrong on the last quiz. Just use PDF, and I'll show you what I mean. All right, go to the bottom. I'm going to leave you 1, 2, and 3 to do on your own, but go down to the bottom. Everybody find this one? About Alfonso. It's taking a test that contains 16 true-false questions. How many of the possible sets of answers to these questions have exactly 12 correct answers true or false. You know what? I didn't realize that's what the question asked. We're going to get the probability. Okay. We're going to go with probability that he gets 12 correct. Man, I didn't read that close. Probability he gets 12 correct that are false. It doesn't matter. 12, okay, exactly 12. So we're going to go 2. Second, vars. It is not normal. It is binom PDF, choice A. Oh, I have it turned off. Mode. Stat diagnostics. Why is it not? Why does mine look like that? Doesn't yours give you a menu of things? Okay. I don't know why mine is turned off. I'm just kidding. Oh. Now it worked. Okay. It doesn't because I'm in parametric. That won't matter. Good question though. Trials, was there 12 or 16? 16 questions? True false means the probability is just 1/2, right? Or 0.5. And we want to get 12 of them to be false or correct. And we got about 0.028. You can just leave it a decimal, I don't care. We're going to do probability here that he gets 8 right. Okay, probability he guesses 8 correct. I am sorry, I did not read these closely when I was talking about doing this worksheet. So back there to binom PDF. And he wants to get 8, is that? So this is going to be a higher probability, 0.196. Okay, let me write out what we did. Binom PDF 16 1/2 8. All right, look at the question underneath. This is the one I really want to change so that we practice the CDF idea. Okay. The probability of certain sales reps successfully making a sales is 1 out of 5. The sales rep has 12 appointments this week. What is the probability that makes 0 sales? So we're going to go second, back here to binom PDF. How many calls is he making? Was it 12? What's the chance he makes a sale? 1 out of 5? Was that right? And he wants to make 0. What's the chance that he makes 0 sales? So 12, 1/5, 0. Comes up about 0.0. What was it? 69? Okay, please stay with me though. This is important. What is the probability that the sales rep makes less than 3 sales? So this is, I would like you to just use PDF and you're going to add up what are the winners here. If he makes 0 sales, 1 sale, or 2 sales, right? So real quick, let me go through it. You go here, binom PDF, and we already did this one. We did 0. So I'm going to go down to 1 sale, hit enter, and then I'm going to go do it again. And I'm going to change it to 2 sales. But then what am I going to do with all those values? I need to add up the chance that he makes 0 or 1 or 2. So I'm going to add up this probability plus this probability plus this probability. Okay, so it's about 0.558 that he makes less than 3. We didn't even get to expected value. Oh, poo. I'm going to put it on the end of the video. There's a raffle expected value question. All right. It is this question on the back of the worksheet. I'm going to go over it right now. It'll be on the video, or you can stay for 1 minute. 150 raffle tickets. They're giving 4 prizes away. So 1 out of 150, 1 out of 150, 1 out of 150. And the other 147 out of 150 are losers. Nope, just kidding. 146, because there's 4 winners. Man, I can't get this right. Okay. $20 tickets. So these guys all lose 20 bucks. The two $50 winners. Well, I could make that 2 out of 150. Then I wouldn't need this. Will win $30 clear because they had to pay $20 for the ticket. The $300 winner wins $280 because he had to pay $20 for the ticket. And the $150 winner wins $130. And then we got to type all that in. Why is this the last Monday? Oh, seniors. I thought you meant for everybody. I was so confused. Okay, so it's 1 over 150. Do you need a pass or something, Riley? Okay. $280 plus 1 over 150 times $30 plus 2 of the 150 win $50, but that only clears them $30. And the other 100 and let me do plus 146 out of 150 all lose $20. All right. I might have to re-record this video, but